I gotta say, at this point, I've watched over 25 plus videos about couples financial therapy sessions, specifically on YouTube from Ramit. And there's so much that I have learned from just couples sharing their stories and what they're going through, where they are financially, and how Ramit helps them like to come over this financial barrier. But also these sessions have shed so much light on my own situation and what is not going right and the things that we need to work on together as a family. So that is what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. First off, I have to recommend every couple that actually shows up for these sessions. Like, it is already hard when you're going through a financial situation, but having the courage to share your struggles openly with someone on the internet, with all these people having their opinions, it is not easy. I recognize that it takes so much courage, like, to show up. The first lesson I've learned through this is that everyone has a money script. Call it a mindset, a belief, something that you picked up along the way with your parents, with your family, and just friends and the environment that you have been in. And just recognizing the fact that you have a different mindset from this other person. They grew up in a different family. You grew up from a different family. And trying to merge these two mindsets together so you can work together sometimes comes with friction. And I've seen it in my own life too. Like, I grew up with a whole different mindset. Like, my mama told me, you have to work so hard for your money. You don't have to waste it. It doesn't grow on trees, all that kind. And then on the other side, my husband, like, you go all out. For example, if it's an event, he wants to go all out, right, with it. But personally, I'm like, we're wasting money there. And he's like, no, but this is an experience that we're having once in a while. So me going through these sessions have made me realize, we are actually operating on different mindsets and beliefs, and we should talk about it so we can find a middle ground, a place where we can both learn and relearn and let go of certain things so we can actually function together as a couple. And for me, just not dismissing my husband and trying to stick to my belief has been a challenge, and having to look through all these fights in his lens as well has been one of the things that I've been convicted about. And yeah, so thanks to everyone who is sharing. The second lesson that actually surprised me was both of you must have a shared vision, something that you're both working towards, something that brings you together. Like, what are those things that we are looking forward for in our life as a family? What are the things we are going to work on together? What investments are we going to do? Where are we going to put our money? Is there a joint account where we can all bring money together for this joint vision? Whether it's travel, whether it's real estate, whether it's just us enjoying our rich life. But then you also must have your personal vision. How does your personal rich life look like? Because there's a session where they asked this mom, like, what is your rich life? And she said, having my kids do this and going to the greatest schools and excelling in everything. And it's like, no. We understand about your kids. What about you? And that was me. This mom was me. Like, everything I always talk about is I want my kids. I don't want them to go through student loans. I don't want them to not have options. But what about me? Because so many times we forget about us in this whole situation. Because what about setting money aside for things that bring life to you? And that really shocked me. So I was challenged there. And that brings me to the next lesson, which is know your numbers. You have to know the actual cost of things. What is the total cost of ownership for your home or for renting or for your car? Like, what exactly does that number look like? And last month, honestly, I was just going through this alone, just for me to know our numbers. How much are we bringing in? How much are we investing every month? How much are we actually saving? How much is the government taking in taxes of our paycheck. How much are we bringing in together? The businesses that we have here and also back home in Uganda. Know what is your net worth? Calculate it. If you have a shared vision, what does that number look like? Like we are planning a trip back home, like where is that in your budget? Where is that in your conscious spending plan? Like how much are you going to spend on the tickets and the travels and buying the gifts for people? And what does that number look like so you can work towards it? And also it will help you to make informed decisions. Do we really afford this? Can we afford it right now? Should we push it later? How long will this take us to reach our goal? I think like that is a very, very powerful thing, because for me, having to think that far and envision has been a challenge for me. As a person who is looking into buying her car, I'm taking these steps right now because I want a new car by December. I was challenged to go find exactly which car that is, what number is going to look like, the insurance, and then starting to put my down payments towards it. And man, it's such a powerful habit to develop. So thank you, Ramit. Now, in addition to that, you have to understand your money. You have to understand your money dynamics and create your rich life. Your rich life is going to look absolutely different from some other person. That's why when we spend so much time on the internet trying to look at other people and like, oh man, they got it all together. Like, look at that, they're buying all these cars and all these things. But that could not be your rich life. Like I literally see people dreaming and envisioning very big mansions and houses. It has never been my rich life. But I want my own house in a different way that is not that gigantic, but it's also different. And that's my rich life. But it all stems down with you sitting down and understanding who you are, your beliefs, your values, and the things that are priority to you, the things you value the most. And I don't have to feel guilty, or the other person doesn't have to feel guilty about it, because everyone has their own definition of a rich life and their values and the things that bring them happiness, right? The other thing that Ramit talks about is most people waste their lives arguing about $3 questions while ignoring $30,000 questions. It just makes so much sense. Like there are times I'm debating, should I buy this on Amazon? Like it's just $15. But the amount of time I'm spending trying to budget and think through my head if I should buy this $15 thing when I should be probably creating content and building my business on the side. Basically, you have to think about the opportunity cost. How do you think about the big things that make the biggest changes in your life? How do you actually negotiate your salary? How do you increase your income? How do you cut down on unnecessary spending? The things that actually will move the needle. $3 and maybe some lattes. Of course, he's always against lattes. I mean, I don't have a latte problem because I don't do coffee, but there are certain small, tiny things that I struggle to make decisions with when I should be making bigger decisions. Like sometimes I'm thinking about, okay, I'm going to cook, but how long is it going to take me to cook this food that these kids won't even eat sometimes? How about just ordering something they're going to eat and save my sanity? And also create space for me to actually maybe do something else that moves the needle. Other thing he's constantly talking about is the conscious spending plan. And I like the conscious spending plan because it shows you the numbers. Just going back to knowing your numbers and your net worth. It just has this quick glance on what's your net worth, what are your investments right now, what is your debt, what are things you're spending on your fixed costs, your investments, and then your guilt-free spending. Like this spending where you are literally guilt-free because you know you have saved, you have invested, and your fixed costs are 50-60% of your take home. For you to create the conscious plan that makes sense, yes, I know the numbers. I know what percentage is supposed to go to my fixed costs and the guilt-free spending and everything. But without you having a budget to cut down stuff or to track the numbers or what you're spending on every single day, it kind of makes the conscious plan very hard to come up and to keep within boundaries. I personally believe we use both of them because the budget will show you what you're doing every single day. This is how much I spent on actually clothes. Is this worth the amount of money I spent, or should I be putting it more into saving? I personally choose to use both of them. I'll use the conscious plan and my Excel sheets, okay? That brings me to his next habit, which is automate everything. If you automate your savings, if you automate your investments, then you know the rest of the money is going to go to your fixed costs or your guilt-free spending. If you automate the bills because they have to go out every single month, then you don't have to think about that. The struggle for me comes in when you have irregular money coming in, right? Like your money keeps fluctuating, like some of us. So personally, I will keep monitoring. Like as much as I automate, I don't want to go into negatives with my account, okay? But I definitely understand the value having the automation, because I have done it with my investments. Every 16th, that money is going to the Roth IRA and I don't even have to think about it. It has helped me to stay consistently saving and investing every single month. Times there are those abrupt subscriptions that just come on. I've experienced that, and if you catch them early enough, they can actually do a refund for you. The other thing I learned the most was investing, specifically that if you're a parent, you should invest more than you're investing for your child, depending on how your income looks like or how your investments look like. So we discovered that personally, we're a little bit behind with our investments, and we were spending almost $200 every single month taking into our kids' ATMA accounts, which are just their investment accounts. And we've cut down on that and increased more on our investing, especially trying to max out our Roth IRAs so we can invest more on ourselves, because we don't have as much time as our kids do have. But I'm also setting aside some savings for the kids, because kids always need money. Like there's always something coming up. So setting aside a kid's account just for their savings in a high yield savings account is what we are still doing. The final lesson I have to share here is communication as a couple, and really talk about money. Talk about why you're making certain decisions. Talk about where your money is coming from, what you're doing with it. Even if you have separate accounts, know and talk to each other, especially with Grace. There's this specific episode where he was encouraging the wife to actually appreciate whatever ideas the husband is putting on plate, even if in the back of her mind she's like, this is not gonna work. Talking to each other with Grace, and not just pickpocketing at each other and trying to see, okay, I know my numbers more than you don't know these numbers. Let's celebrate the little wins we have, the working together, and just, literally loving yourselves through this process has been a game changer. Because there are times my husband brings an idea and I'm like, no, what are you talking about? That's not gonna work. But just pulling back and saying, okay, this person needs to feel appreciated, like they are contributing in this situation, and that I'm actually listening. That was like an eye opener for me. Like, really love each other through this process. It's already hard and you're working through it together. So if you don't appreciate each other, that's why the marriage gets really rocky. Anyway, he has these 2 books. I'm almost done with this, but this one is what I can't even wait, because most of this stuff is summarized in these books. You can order them right down there in the description box. No, this video is not sponsored by Ramit. I'm just here to share what I'm learning and what is working, and just enjoying the free wisdom on the internet before we pay for anything, literally anything. So I did a video on what we are doing to fix our money issues, and that video, you can go watch it. If you need an accountability partner, like you want someone to journey with, you're kind of alone in your reset, comment below accountability. I'm thinking about bringing a group of women together so we can help each other grow together. So I want to know if that is one thing you're interested in. So let me know in the comments. And if this video helps in any way, share, like, comment below. I appreciate you so much. I wish you the best. Keep thriving through it, and God bless.